Another season in the books. Naps fall a little bit short this year. Has a little bit to do with the creative players that were on the team towards the end of the year. A bunch of random players started to appear in the lineup. Knapp was still a staple, so he was in most of our line or in most of the games played. It looks like the Naps finished 80 and 73. In real life, they were 71 and 82, so 9 games over the target. Not bad. We'll see what the score is at the end. And let's take a look at what has happened and transpired. It was a rematch of the 1905 simulated season with the New York Giants playing the Philadelphia Athletics in the World Series. This one also went 7 games, but the Philadelphia Athletics get the upper hand here and defeat the New York Giants 4-1 in Game 7. Shoeless Joe Jackson, he was the series MVP for the Philadelphia Athletics. Here was the standings for the year. The AL standings in real life, we have Detroit, Philadelphia, Boston, Chicago, New York, Cleveland, St. Louis, and Washington. The National League standings: Pittsburgh, Chicago, New York, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, St. Louis, and Boston. Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Detroit Tigers 4-3 in the World Series. Here's the expanded standings. Here's the league statistics. The batting leaders: Eddie Collins led the way, 371. Beals Becker hit 9 home runs, and Sam Crawford 1 RBI short of 100. We did have Nap Lajoie lead the league in doubles with 46. And that's all we had as the leaders. Pitching: Rube Waddle still working it, 135 ERA, pretty dominant. Christy Mathewson, 26 wins, leading the way. And Walter Johnson, 232 strikeouts this year. Cy Young had the best walks in 9 innings ratio. He was on the Cleveland Naps this year. It was fun to play with Cy Young, but he did go 15 and 18 with the 287 ERA. Here's the fielding leaders. George Stovall with the best range rating at first base. The team statistics: batting, pitching, and the fielding. Here's the team by team results, highlighting Cleveland. Struggled against Boston, struggled against the Athletics. Here's the top systems. Top performances of the year. Team power rankings, the final issue. The top players in the league. The top prospects in the league. The league history. We have not cleared the season yet. And now let's go team by team. So I'm going to go in order of finish, real life finishing position. So the Detroit Tigers finished 98-54. They made it to the World Series. They fell 12 games short of that. Ty Cobb leads the way with Bill Donovan. Pretty good batting. Pitching really held them back. Philadelphia Athletics, 3.5 games behind him. Misread that. They finished 95-58. So they finished one game above that total. Eddie Collins leads the way batting. Coombs and Bender pitching. The third team, the Boston Red Sox, they go 88-63. They finished 10 games under the target in the simulation. Tris Speaker, the best batter. Smokey Joe Wood, the best pitcher. Again, the pitching kind of holds them back. They have good batting. Team 4, Chicago White Sox, 78-74. They finished 6 games behind that target. Patsy Doherty leads the way, and then a huge drop-off. Seems to be the case for Chicago through this decade. Doc White, Ed Walsh, and Bill Burns all finished with an ERA under 2. They have really good pitching and horrible offense. Team 5, the New York Highlanders, 74-77. They finished 14 games below their target. Hal Chase leads the way batting. Manning and Brockett lead the way pitching, if you want to call it that. Very bad pitching and middle of the road batting. Team 6 is your Cleveland Naps, 71-82, so we finished 9 games above our target. Nap Lajoie leads the way. Heine Berger leads the way pitching. Pitching is pretty subpar, but really good base running. Without the base running, we'd be in trouble. I didn't steal a lot this year. See, 8th stolen bases, and the base running ended up being really good because I wasn't running into a lot of outs. And that might be why my team was better than... I was not aggressive on the base paths, but next year I'll probably have a goal to get more steals, so we'll have to change that up. The Browns finished 7th, 61-89, so they finished 2 games above their target. Hoffman and Hartzell lead the way with Rube Waddle, the best pitcher according to the ERA. Middle of the road pitching, below average batting for St. Louis. And the last team, the Senators, 42-110. They finish 30 games above their target. Unglaub and Clyde Milan lead the way batting. Walter Johnson, a standout pitcher. We'll see a lot of him going forward in the upcoming years. Again, the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Detroit Tigers 4-3 in the World Series. Let's head over to the National League here. We have the Pittsburgh Pirates going 110-42. They finished 17 games below that target. Honus Wagner, the batting leader, and Vic Willis, the pitching leader. Very good pitching, very good batting. Just unable to pass the Giants in wins. Finishing second was the Cubs, 104-49. They finished 30 games below their target. So something happened horrible in this simulation. It looks like they averaged 4.1 runs per game and only allowed 2.5 runs per game. Pitching's pretty good. Hitting's average. So I don't know how they managed to lose 30 more games than their target, but that happened in Chicago. The New York Giants, the New York Baseball Giants, almost beat the Philadelphia Athletics down 3-1 in the World Series. They almost came back again, just like 1905. They fell a little short. 92-61 in real life, so 8 games above their target. Doyle, Bridwell, and Murray lead the way. Batting. Wiltse, Marquardt, and Raymond, the pitchers. Pretty good pitching, very good batting. Finishing 4th, Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati was 77-76. They finished 10 games above their target in our simulation. Dick Holblitzel, Rebel Oaks, and Hans Lobert lead the way batting. Art Fromm, Bob Ewing, and Gasberry lead the way pitching. Average pitching, above average hitting. Then we take it to the 5th team before a huge drop-off in wins. So Philadelphia Phillies, 74-79. They finished 2 games below their target. Sherry McGee leads the way, Bransfield and Grant. And then George McQuillan and Frank Corridon lead the way pitching. Their pitching was average. Their batting was a little worse than average. Very good stolen bases and base running. And then a big drop off. We see the Brooklyn Super Boss 55 and 98. They finished 2 games above their total, their target, so that was good for Brooklyn. Birch, Lennox, and Hummel lead the way batting. Rucker, Wilhelm, and George Bell pitching. Below average pitching and the worst batting in the league for Brooklyn. But their pitching got them a little bit above their target. And then you see the Cardinals, who were 7th place. They were 54 and 98, so they finished 11 games above their total. Evans, Konecny, and Ellis, the hitters, hitting leaders on their team, and then Johnny Lush and Slim Sally, the pitching leaders, and that was it for pitching. So they were pretty bottom tier pitching and middle of the road batting. Another reason Pittsburgh and the Cubs probably really struggled this year to keep up with the Giants and keep up with their own historical win losses is probably due to the Cardinals and the Boston Dubs finishing 10 games, 20 games above their target. Those wins had to go somewhere, so they probably just performed better against Pittsburgh and Chicago. And the last team was the Boston Dubs. So the Boston Dubs, they finished 45 and 108. So we see 18 games above their target. Beals Becker and Bill Sweeney, and those are the only 2 qualifiers. So Kirby White, the best pitcher, pretty bad pitching, even worse hitting, and that'll get you to 7th place. So they did pretty good compared to the real life. So a good season for the Boston Dubs. So let's go to my team again. We'll go into the Cleveland Naps a little bit before we call this a video. So we made it to the World Series in 1907, 1908. We did pretty good. 1909, pretty good. Nothing to write home about. Transaction log. Reported to spring training camp. Nice. And that was the short list of transactions this year. Not too much going on. Want to go into the info and just go through the info really quick? There's the pitching leaders. Pitching was subpar. Like half of it was good, and then half of it was just bad. I was out of a lot of games. There's the statistic pages. Not going to worry about that. The history we can take a look at really quick. And that's it. From here, I'm going to go into the MLB history. So now we're going to wrap this video up. We're going to go into the playoff history. I'm going to simulate this day. Now I have what I needed. This should change. And it will change any of the team names and whatnot. 369, not a very good score. I thought it was a pretty good year. They disagree. So here's the playoff history, 4-3. Here's the champions. And they had a season score of 928 out of 1,000. So that's Connie Mack's Philadelphia Athletics. So thanks for watching. 1910 will take place in December of 2022. We'll get right on that. I'll be simulating the off season. And after dinner, I will start the new season. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the live streams.